Hi there, I wanted to show you the easiest way and quickest way to make a pumpkin pie. It is using Libby's pumpkin pie recipe. It is a very simple pumpkin pie recipe, and you can even use your own crust if you want, or you can even use a pre-bought. This is a frozen crust. I'm cheating this whole way, but it's the quickest way to make a pumpkin pie at home, and it tastes fantastic. So this is just a pie crust that I found in the freezer section. They usually come in twos, so I've got one in the freezer and I've taken one out, and so that's just coming up to room temperature while I make my filling. So it's very, very simple. Everything is kind of already made and organized. If you want to make this a little bit more homemade, you can always make your pie crust yourself. And you can also make your pumpkin puree yourself. So if you wanted to do that, which I have done in the past, then you just need to make sure you buy pie pumpkin, which are the smaller orange pumpkins. You're going to cut it open, take all the seeds out, and then just pop it in a bowl similar to this with a little bit of water in the bottom of it. Cover it with some cling film and microwave it for about 15 minutes. Again, quite an easy way to do it. You can roast it if you want. You can do other methods, but that's the easiest way. Scoop it all out, mash it up. It works best if you've got a food processor or a blender. You can blend it up nice and fine. I still pass mine through a sieve just to make sure that it's super, super smooth. But in this case, I'm going to be using just an organic, I couldn't find Libby's actually. So this is just 100% pumpkin puree. There is nothing else in there. There's no added spice. I'm going to add my own spices. But so either way, I'm going to do the super quick cheat slightly using a pre-made pie crust and fillings and stuff like that. So in my bowl I have 2 eggs, and I'm just going to beat those up slightly with a spatula really quick. I have my oven preheating to 425. You're going to start it at 425 and then turn it down. And then to my 2 eggs I am going to add my whole can of pumpkin. There we go. I'm just going to mix that in to my 2 beaten eggs. You can use a wooden spoon. I just happen to have a spatula to hand, so I'm just going to mix everything in that way. So there we go. Then I'm going to add in my sugar and my spices. So I'm using 3/4 a cup of white sugar. We'll just measure that out and pop that in. And my spices. So for my spices, I've got cinnamon, and I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. I have my teaspoon. So a whole teaspoon of cinnamon, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of cloves, measuring that out slightly, 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. There we go. So I'm just going to mix this in. I will post this recipe below. It is just the Libby's pumpkin pie recipe. You can find online if you search for Libby's pumpkin pie. I believe Libby's is a NESTLÉ product, although I could be wrong on that one. But if you just search Libby's pumpkin pie recipe, it's freely available online. So you can see how easily that mixes in. And then to that, I'm going to add a whole can of evaporated milk. So just pop that straight in, that whole can. So that's a 12-ounce can. And again, we're just going to mix this in very gently. And that's your filling. That's it. It's really that easy. So you've just got your eggs, your pumpkin, your spices, your sugar, and your milk. And since I am going to use a pre-made pie shell, you want an unbaked pie shell. So this is still just thawed out from the freezer. And it's unbaked, and it is a 9-inch pie shell. So now that this is all mixed in, all you do is carefully pour that in to your pie shell. Now you do kind of need a deep dish pie shell, so that there's going to be a little bit left over. But as I'm cheating, I don't really mind having a little bit left over to save me some time. So my oven is preheating to 425 degrees. I'm going to pop this into the oven for 15 minutes. Then I'm going to turn the oven down to 350 degrees and continue to bake it for 40 to 50 minutes. I'm looking for it to slightly start to usually browns a little bit. You'll see it puff up and then it'll sink back down when you take it out of the oven. Insert a knife into the center and that should come out nice and clean, and you'll know that it's ready to be taken out. So I will do 15 minutes at 425, turn my temperature down to 350 and continue to cook 40 to 50 minutes until it's done. And then I will come back and show you what it looks like finished. So this is my pie out of the oven. As you can see, I've already cut a piece of it. And you can see just around the edge, I did spill a little bit over the edge, so that's the darkened edge on the crust that you can see there. But you can also see that it's just a little bit darker around the outside than the inside. And since I've cut a piece already, you can also see the lovely inside texture of the pumpkin pie. Absolutely yummy, fantastic. Now I let it cool down to about room temperature, and it's very yummy to eat at room temperature. I also quite like to have a cold pumpkin pie as well, so you can always make it ahead of time and then pop it into the fridge and take it out, entirely up to you. And then I just serve it with a dollop of whipped cream. Thank you so much for watching my video. Give it a try. Really easy, really fun recipe to make. If you enjoyed my video, please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe to see what else I'm up to. Thanks.